let's talk with Sam in England because it's getting pretty late over there. Sam, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
I called in a few weeks ago, so hi again, I guess.
You called in to talk about coming out to your family over the holidays. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. How'd it go?
That was. It went interestingly. So I think I mentioned last time that my mum knew most things except the fact that I'm polyamorous and everyone else didn't. When I explicitly brought things up, the whole family completely blanked on the fact I'd said anything except my mum when I mentioned having multiple partners. When she asked me, "Oh, you're dating someone," and that was it. But the week before Christmas, I bumped into some street pastors from my nana's church. And that was interesting because I was wearing... So I mentioned being non-Christian last time. I'm pagan. And I was wearing a pentacle necklace. And I was wearing a dress, and I got stopped by them. They didn't recognize me at all.
Oh, wow.
And they handed me these pieces of paper with stuff on it, trying to convince me to go to their church. And so I walked up to the guy who had stopped me and was just like, "Hiya, John." And he just didn't know who I was. And apparently his initial reaction was to presume I was a demon, to kind of give you an idea of the people in this church. So I then discussed with them for a bit. But really weirdly, they didn't mention it to my nana at all, meaning they're trying to hide it from her. Because when I mentioned to my nana that I bumped into them, she was really confused because they hadn't told her.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
what was the kind of... Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like you've had an interesting holiday season. What was the temperature in the room after you came out? You made it sound like people just sort of glossed over it and maybe were supportive, but maybe more dismissive. I don't want to speak for you. I mean, what was that like?
Not even supportive. They passive aggressively moved the topic on.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sounds about right. That's been my experience for the most part as well. It's like, let's just pretend that didn't happen and move on.
Yeah, however, I am taking a massive positive from it that I have the precedence now that I do not have to tell them when big things happen because they don't care.
That's true.
That's fair to say. I mean, again, this is your story. And if they want a piece in it, I hope that they'll step up to the plate. But yeah, you definitely don't owe it to them to share your identity or really even share your life. I mean, I hope that these are meaningful people to you and that you're able to build and continue with that connection. But it's certainly not an obligation. It's really about what's serving you and whether or not those relationships feel like they're adding any value to your life.
Yeah, and I'm not going to cut contact with them or anything, but I'm at the point with all of them where I speak to them maybe once a month. And unless they start to put in some effort as well, because I've tried a few times, then it can stay like that. And it possibly sounds quite bad talking about who's obviously like my immediate family like that. But I don't see that I personally have many other options, and I refuse to worry about it. I have anxiety enough.
That's a good policy. And yeah, it can feel a little bit harsh, maybe from the outside. Wow, they're talking about their family in this way. But I think here on Secular Sexuality, we understand that you can create your own families and you are not obligated to be beholden to or loyal to people who don't appreciate you or who give you anxiety or who dismiss big events in your life because it makes them uncomfortable. Certainly that's not something that we would suggest you do. So I say go for it. I think you're spot on. You have plausible deniability now, right? You can say, hey, I told you the things, you didn't respond to the things, so I just assumed you didn't want to know. and move on with your life.
Yeah, pretty much. Though I very much look forward to if I bump into those street preachers again, because they gave me a list of apologetics resources, including things like Frank Turek.
Oh gosh.
And so I didn't have time. I didn't have the time to explain to them at that point that I could tear apart the works that they named for me without having to relook over them.
Yeah, that'll be a fun conversation. Maybe get that one on camera, and then I'd love to see that.
Oh, that'd be something.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for calling in with an update. I know we generally encourage people who are in the middle of a big process or a point in their life and call in to give us an update, because either way, it makes us feel closer, right? If it was an amazing situation and you wanted to share the good news, that's awesome. We would be happy for you. In this case, it wasn't so awesome, but it certainly wasn't the worst case scenario, so we can be happy about that. And also we can empathize, right? There are people on this show who have had similar experiences. Certainly in the live chat and the viewership, we have people who are right there with you. So thank you so much for giving us a little bit of an update, Sam.
Yeah. Well, I am gonna go probably hop on another stream now, but I will be watching the rest of this later because Polyvagal theory is interesting and you guys are awesome.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you so much.
Good night.